Alright, how's it going, guys? Today we're going to be taking a look at the Montreal Canadiens and going over who I believe that they should select with the 15th overall pick in the 2019 draft. And keep in mind, guys, my selection is going to be based on positional needs and not based on best available. Let's get into the video. So let's just take a look at their depth charts and kind of analyze where they may be lacking and where their weak spots may be. So starting with center, we have Max Domi, Danault, Kotkaniemi, Pekka, Thompson, Wheel, and some other futures like Poling. On left wing, we have Drouin, Byron, Tatar, Lehkonen, Hudon, and some other prospects. On right wing, we have Gallagher, Shaw, Armia, Weiss, Delorier, McCarron, and some other prospects. On defense, we have Shea Weber, Jeff Petrie, Mete, Riley, Ben Kulak, Olsner, Cale Fleury, and some other prospects. In net, we have Carey Price, Lindgren, McNevin, and Primo. Alright, so when kind of analyzing the roster, Marc Bergevin has really been putting a focus on center depth. It's very apparent that he is obviously putting a heavy emphasis on center depth, and he's been doing a decent job on, building their center core for the future. Marc Bergevin is a very polarizing, character. A lot of people either just despise what he's doing and don't agree with what he's doing, or they agree with the way he's, building the future of the Montreal Canadiens. Some of that controversy was first started with Max Domi being traded for Galchenyuk. Obviously, Galchenyuk was the best center on the Canadiens before that, and he traded him for Max Domi, who was a natural winger. Now, luckily, Max Domi has transitioned very well to the center, having 72 points in 82 games, which is just a fantastic year. And then Bergevin drafted Kotkaniemi with a 3rd overall pick, which was also very controversial. However, Kotkaniemi had a decent rookie year and is looking like he can be a really solid two-way centerman, a potential first-line center going on into the future. So when looking at their center depth, when we have Max Domi and Kotkaniemi filling out the 1-2 spot, Danault, who can definitely play the second line. However, in my ideal world, I would put him in the 3 spot as that really good third line center. And then we have some other bottom 6 centers like Thompson, Pekka, Wheel, and obviously Ryan Poling, who had a very good final game of last season. So in terms of center, I believe obviously it doesn't hurt to add more center depth. Or another, elite centerman, but I think they don't have to prioritize or emphasize center in this draft. And obviously they have Nick Suzuki, who was acquired from in the Pacioretty trade. On left wing, we have Jonathan Drouin and Tatar, making up that top 2 punch. Drouin, in my opinion, his ceiling is around 70 to 80 points, so he definitely does have the ability to take over that first-line left-wing role. Tatar obviously had a really great bounce-back season after a pretty not great season with the Knights, having 58 points in 80 games. Definitely a very solid second-line left wing. And then we have Byron, Lehkonen, and Hudon, who can definitely make up that bottom 6 core. On right wing, we have Gallagher, Shaw, Armia, Weiss, Delorier, and McCarron. Gallagher, in my opinion, is more of a second-line right wing. However, he can obviously play first-line minutes. He has that more defensive side of the game. Really good two-way player. One of Don Cherry's favorite players. And then obviously we have Andrew Shaw, Armia, Weiss, Delorier, and McCarron, who in my opinion are all bottom 6 forwards. However, Armia, he did have some decent flashes last year, and he may have some potential to take over like a second-line power forward role, but in my opinion, he's better off on a third-line scoring position. On defense, we have Weber, Petrie, Mete, Riley, Ben, kind of filling out the top 6, and then some other futures who could potentially come in. And obviously, Carl Olsner, just getting shipped to the AHL minors is not a great look. However, Weber did have a really great end to last season. Another controversial thing that Bergevin did, shipping out PK Subban for Weber. A lot of people thought that was really stupid. I'm a big fan of Weber, and if Weber played the whole last season, I would say Weber had a way better season than PK Subban. And obviously Jeff Petrie has had, now 2 back-to-back really great seasons, so if he could keep that up, that would be great. But when looking at their defensive core, to be honest, they may be fine for the next 2-3 years, but they don't necessarily have any, blue chip prospects who are guaranteed to, bolster their blue line going on into the future. So when looking at their roster, it's pretty apparent to me that they need to focus on either defense or the right wing. And also keep in mind, guys, at the number 15 spot in any draft, you can really, there is no sure person that's going to be available at the 15th spot unless you're drafting off the board. So the players I'm going to mention may not be there, or they may be there. It's just one of those spots where you have no clue who you're going to get. So if I was Montreal, I'd have at least 5, 7, maybe even 10 guys that I would potentially select at the 15 spot, because you just never know who's going to be left at 15. And another thing, on my mock draft, I mentioned that Montreal should draft Soderstrom at 15 if he was available. And a lot of you guys pointed out the fact that, Montreal already has a lot of right-handed defensemen and that they should focus on the left side. And I do agree with you, but keep in mind, guys, right-handed defensemen are very valuable. They're way more scarce and they have more value. Teams value a right-handed defenseman way more than a left-handed defenseman. And with Soderstrom, potentially being the second best defenseman in this draft, if he was available at 15, I would say the Montreal should definitely pick up Soderstrom. However, for the sake of this video, because it's more based on positional needs, I'm going to focus on the left side. For number 1, I would say Philip Broberg. So Philip Broberg is available at 15. Montreal should definitely pick up Philip Broberg. He has so much potential to potentially be, a top 2 puck-moving, massive, really great skating defenseman who has really good hockey IQ, but does lack consistency. At time, Broberg, was looked at to be potentially a top 5 pick. He has all the pieces, whether that's size, skating ability, passing, hockey IQ, vision, to be that top 5 guy and potentially be a top 2 defenseman. But at other times, his play was just not great. And that has really led him to slide down the rankings a bit. So depending on whether the scouts believe he can fix those consistency issues, he could definitely be a steal at 15. Really bolstering, Montreal's blue line going on into the future. Another left-handed defenseman that could be available at 15 is Cam York. So Cam York really reminds me of a Quinn Hughes, offensive-minded defenseman who is also responsible on his own end, that has really great vision, really great skating, a good shot, really good playmaking ability, that has a very good transition game. So if Cam York was still on the board, I would say that's a great pickup at 15 for Montreal. Another position, I do kind of believe Montreal has a weak right wing. So in terms of drafting a winger, I would actually say Arthur Kaliev. Arthur Kaliev maybe could just be the deadliest scoring winger in this draft, besides Kako. Having over 50 goals in the OHL this year, he looks like a fantastic, sniper. He has size, he has grit, he has a decent skating ability, a really good shot, good vision, good hockey IQ. However, his skating is more average, it's not fantastic, and he has kind of lackluster defensive play, which is why he's in the 15 range. But if Montreal did want to focus on building their right wing winger depth, Kaliev would definitely be a big pickup at 15. So out of all the players, who would I actually prioritize if I was Montreal? Well, to be honest, I think it's kind of a toss-up between York and Broberg, because I think depending on where they see the defensive core going into the future, either player could greatly benefit and build their defensive core going on into the future. But I'd actually say Broberg is who they should prioritize. With the fact that he has, huge top 2 upside, he could really build Montreal's defensive core going into the future. Having that, with a massive size, really good skating ability, and really good transition play, he looks like a can't-miss pick at 15. However, I would be kind of hard-pressed to say that Broberg is going to be available there. However, I could see Broberg being picked up in the top 10. So Cam York is definitely a really good consolation prize. Anyways, guys, that's just my opinion. Definitely comment down below who you believe Montreal should draft. Thanks for watching. See you guys.